Now on Coast TV News.
Good Thursday morning, Delmarva. We have a yellow alert in place through the morning, expecting some active weather with the threat of isolated damaging winds. We'll track it coming up.
Rainy road conditions. Here is what our first alert weather Jeep is experiencing. We have the latest on the roads and other areas prone to flooding.
Shutdown sparks action. What Delaware's governor did in response to the potential expiration of SNAP benefits and what we expect Maryland's governor to do later this morning.
Eagles reunion. Deshaun Jackson and Michael Vick were once teammates on the Birds. Tonight they face each other in a HBCU game on their former home turf.
This is Coast TV News Today.
And we continue with our 6 o'clock hour. Good morning, I'm Matt Pensick.
Good morning, Matt. I'm Grace Eckerly. It is Thursday, October 30th, 2025.
And we continue to hear that strong wind over our roof here outside our studio. First alert conditions in the morning hours.
Yes, and a yellow alert day at that. We're joined now by our first alert meteorologist, Chris Mastrobono. Chris, what's going on outside?
Good morning, Grace and Matt. Well, it has been an active morning. We've seen one wave of heavy rain move through overnight, and we're beginning to see another one push through at the moment. The rain pretty light. We've seen some moderate pockets in and across Sussex County, but if you look off the coast here, we can see those reds and yellows. That is a sign of some heavier rain beginning to push ashore, and this is all lifting to the north, so expect that rain to begin to pick up in intensity along the beaches, and we're tracking more shower activity to the southwest here. As you can see, this rather broad area of low pressure across West Virginia, and all of this is going to continue pushing up to the north. Now, we have that marginal risk of severe weather this morning. It is a small risk, but it's not a zero. Primary threat would be a damaging wind threat in excess of 55 miles an hour, as well as the chance for a brief spin-up tornado. That threat is low as well. Futurecast shows the showers continuing with some moderate pockets of heavier rain through the latter part of the morning and into your lunchtime hour. But you see, by the time we get to the afternoon, we rapidly begin to dry out from a west to east fashion. Right now, Salisbury, you can see the wet roads out there. We're at 64. It's a rather mild tropical start to the day. You can see those winds out of the southeast, gusting 38 Indian River Inlet to 35 in Ocean City, 30 Georgetown. Temperature-wise, we're at 62 Rehoboth, 62 in Georgetown, 64 in Salisbury. So our window of opportunity for an isolated severe storm is really going to be through about noon. Then we shut the rain off, and then we're going to see some sunshine by the latter part of the afternoon. Yellow alert in play through today. Ghouls, goblins, and gusts for our Halloween, and we're looking at plenty of sunshine through the weekend. We'll talk more about that coming up in my full 7-day forecast. Matt.
Thank you, Chris. Let's go live to Lewis and check out the scene here. Not much has really changed since the last time we checked in along the canal. A little light rain. Might be a raindrop on the right side of your screen on our lens there, but it is a wet start at the first town in the first state. Grace.
Yeah, so that's Delaware now in Maryland. This is what you're seeing in Ocean City. It's high above Coastal Highway. This is the view from around 94th Street. And it's actually what drivers should expect as they head out this morning.
And we're now going to get a further look at the conditions on the road. Specifically, we're talking at the Indian River Inlet.
And this is exactly where we find Coast TV News reporter Elisa Weber. And Elisa, you're in the first alert weather Jeep driving in that area that's just south of Dewey, and it's an area that's normally a trouble spot during some heavy rain.
Good morning, Matt and Grace. Yes, right now we are driving in our first alert weather Jeep on the Indian River Inlet Bridge. We are about to get onto the bridge, but we're going to show you those conditions outside right now. As we can see, that rain is picking up a little bit. It's not heavy rain, it's more like a heavy drizzle. Nothing significant really, but we're still dealing with those heavy winds that we talked about earlier in our 5 o'clock hour when we were over this exact spot on the bridge. But right now, conditions are clear and mild over the bridge. We're seeing more cars out than we did last hour, which is normal as the morning goes on. People get ready to go to work and their destinations for the day. But again, as we make our way up the bridge, conditions are clear. And we are going to show you videos from 2 weeks ago on October 13th when this area experienced that nor'easter. And on your screen right now, you are going to see what the bridge looked like on Monday, October 13th, when parts of the bridge were closed. Route 1 North at Cotton Patch southbound just south of Dewey Beach had been shut down around 3 a.m. on Monday due to flooding. That bridge did eventually reopen, and we will have more updates for you throughout the morning as we head south to Dewey Beach. Now we're going to give you an update in that area, south to Bethany Beach right now, excuse me. We're going to give you more updates in that area. For now, back to you.
That was Elisa Weber reporting. Hurricane Melissa unleashed devastation in Jamaica as the strongest storm on record ever to hit the Caribbean island nation. Melissa then roared on later Wednesday into eastern Cuba, smashing the city of Santiago and flooding rural land. You can see some of that severe weather right now on your screen and the devastation. According to officials, the historic storm blasted western Jamaica, demolishing homes, knocking down swaths of trees, and washing out roadways.
This just in, Delaware Governor Matt Meyer is expected in Kent County today for a ceremonial bill signing of the Richard Mouse Smith Compassion Release Act.
According to Meyer, Smith was a Delaware civil rights leader who advocated for incarcerated individuals, and this law, also known as Senate Bill 10, allows people in prison to apply directly to the sentencing court for possible release.
It also gives people older or seriously ill and also those who have served decades behind bars new opportunities to seek sentence reductions based on rehabilitation or health concerns.
For more information on the requirements that one must meet to be considered for possible release, you can head to our article on our website, CoastTV.com.
And with the federal government shutdown threatening to cut off food assistance in just 3 days, Delaware is taking action. Governor Matt Meyer announced a state of emergency to allow weekly state funding for SNAP recipients in face of this funding lapse caused by the government shutdown. Meyer said the program, which provides food to more than 120,000 people in Delaware, it could run out of money if the federal government does not reopen. The state's plan would cover the cost of the program through the month of November.
New this morning, Maryland Governor Wes Moore expected to take executive action today. That's according to his office, and this is ahead of the SNAP funding running out on Saturday due to the government shutdown. Moore says in just a few hours at 11 a.m. he will announce his plans to help those who rely on the benefits.
And also in Maryland, the state food bank is preparing to meet the expected surge in the need for food assistance. It's planning to buy $3 million worth of additional food in the anticipation of the loss of SNAP benefits on Saturday. Officials say more than 55,000 Marylanders on the Eastern Shore rely on SNAP monthly. Local food pantries like Salisbury Urban Ministries say they've already seen more people coming in for help over the past few months.
We just got a delivery a week ago. $2,000 worth of administrative fee is what it cost us to bring in the food, and some of it was donated and some of it was from the emergency food program. You'll walk through there right now and you'll think, when do you get your next delivery? Because it doesn't look like you've got enough. And that's what we're thinking right now. How are we going to manage this?
During previous government shutdowns, Maryland was reimbursed for funding critical programs like SNAP, but in a statement last week, Governor Moore said the state has gotten zero assurance of reimbursement.
This brings us now to our Coast TV poll. We want to know what worries you most about the government shutdown. Let's take a look at the results.
Yeah, we got some changes since last time we checked in here. We see more people are voting for health insurance costs. Also a good number of people chiming in with workers losing paychecks. And then we have that distribution at the top of your screen with losing SNAP benefits and travel delays. If you haven't voted yet, you can still do so at CoastTVnews.com or our mobile app.
New this morning, Berlin is helping people who live there keep track of their water use. The town says a new Berlin consumer water portal is an online service that lets people manage their use through charts and graphs. On there, people can set alerts, detect leaks, and even create budgets. Town leaders say people can now access that portal 24/7.
President Trump on his way back to Washington this morning after a 3-stop tour through Asia this week. The president's trip culminating early this morning with a high-stakes meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping, his first in 6 years.
Right, Matt, and NBC's Tracy Kelsey now showing us the meeting and if the world's two largest economies could de-escalate trade tensions.
President Donald Trump declared he wants to begin testing America's nuclear weapons just before his meeting with China's President Xi Jinping in South Korea, later explaining it wasn't Xi that prompted the announcement.
The meeting. It had to do with others.
On Truth Social, the president posted the United States has more nuclear weapons than any other country and went on to express concerns that Russia and China will catch up with the U.S. in 5 years. Trump said he wanted the testing to be done on an equal basis with other countries, but did not elaborate on what that would look like. Democratic Senator Jackie Rosen reacting on X, saying, "This directly contradicts the commitments I secured from Trump nominees who've told me explosive nuclear testing would not happen." Returning from South Korea on Air Force One, Trump called the meeting with Xi a success.
I guess on the scale of from 0 to 10, with 10 being the best, I would say the meeting was a 12. Okay, I think it was a 12.
The two leaders discussed fentanyl, the export of China's rare earth minerals, and trade, prompting Trump to lower tariffs on goods from China to 47% from 57%.
It was an outstanding group of decisions, I think, that was made. A lot of decisions were made, too. There wasn't too much left out there.
In Washington, Tracy Wilkins, NBC News.
The Salisbury Police Department says there's been an increase in car thefts in the area. The agency is now advising ways to prevent crimes by keeping your doors locked, keeping valuables out of view, and parking in well-lit areas.
Tonight in Philadelphia, it is a pair of former Eagles going head-to-head. Delaware State, led by Deshaun Jackson, takes on Norfolk State, coached by Michael Vick. They face each other in a MEAC contest. The Hornets won their conference opener last week, and kickoff tonight is just after 7 p.m.
We're just getting started in this hour of Coast TV News today.
Coming up, dealing with decline, who officials are working with to protect striped bass on the eastern shore.
Also, tree cell tower. Well, that's what officials in Ocean Pines say is coming to the town. We'll tell you about the intent for the unique design.
But first, bringing history to life in 3D. It's the new artwork in Lewis, and it's catching a lot of attention. It is this week's Coastal Connections. All that and more as Coast TV News Today continues.
Lewis has a new way to tell stories, not through words, but through art. And in this week's Coastal Connections, Elisa Weber takes us to the Lewis Historical Museum, where they've got a new mural that is telling the story of the first town in the first state.
A colorful mural now adorns the front of the Lewis Historical Museum, highlighting key moments in the city's rich history. Being chosen by Art and Bloom to create it was an honor artist Michael Rosato took very seriously.
Whenever I paint a mural, I think about that. How will the viewer engage in this, and when I'm painting, and it's very satisfying when that engagement is positive, and you get positive feedback. It means that you were successful in your interpretation, and it's. And I take the responsibility of painting, especially for other communities, very important. It's something that I embrace wholeheartedly, mind, body, soul.
From Native Americans to Lewis's shipbuilding heritage, the artwork truly comes to life, so much so that you might do a double take, thinking parts of the painting, like the raccoon or the goldfinch, are actually real. Creating a mural like this is no easy task. Rosato spent more than 400 hours bringing the project to life, but he says the hard work is always worth it.
Call it the humility of preparation. If you prepare yourself well, for telling a story, usually by the end you'll have a successful, product.
Rosato says small American towns are often the best to paint for, as he finds they're often hidden gems and a melting pot for ideas. And of course, Lewis was no exception.
There's so much American history, in Lewis. You've got, the gambit. It's like a sweeping epic of a novel, in one little town. When you have that much history in a small town, there are so many rich stories, and it just makes the process of telling that story a lot easier.
This painting tells 5 stories of Lewis, from Native Americans hunting and gathering, the arrival of the Dutch, the city's role in the Underground Railroad, and finally, Lewis's rich maritime and shipbuilding history. Each scene is as captivating as the next.
And that's what I love about designing. The design process is that you think about all these little things. How do you engage the viewer to learn the story? And I know a little kid's going to come up here and say, "Mom, a bird," and then he's going to say, "Look at the boy," and then what's going on, and ask questions. That's the way I like to design it. I like it to, I want it to invite you in to learn it, and to be engaged with it, and then be kind of either blown away or, just enjoy.
The next time you're in Lewis, take a moment to appreciate this work of art. There's a good chance it'll inspire you to learn more about the first town in the first state. For Coastal Connections, I'm Elisa Weber.
It is 6:20 and you are looking live. Got some light rain in Cambridge near the banks of the Choptank River, and continue to hear, Chris, that strong wind outside of our studio this morning.
Yeah, I think the wind's outdueling the rain this morning across the area, but we're still seeing some pretty moderate to heavy pockets of rain, pretty light across most of Sussex County. The heaviest pocket we're seeing now pushing across the mid-shore, American Corner, up through Denton and then Greensboro, seeing some heavy rain, and then we're seeing another heavy pocket pushing off the Atlantic, extending right across Assateague Island and pushing up into Ocean City, and all this heavy rain is going to be making its way up through Sussex County over the next hour. Starting to dry out a bit across the southwest here. We see one other wave of moisture pushing through Norfolk and into Washington, and you can see some heavier rains extending across western Pennsylvania into upstate New York as this big broad area of low pressure continues advancing to the north. Right now in Ocean View it is 63, rather tropical out there. In fact, temperatures are in the lower 60s, those winds sustained anywhere from 20 to 32 miles an hour out of the southeast, gusting even higher, 30 in Georgetown and Millsboro, 33 gusts there in Rehoboth, the 40 Indian River Inlet. Temperatures right now are more like our average highs for this time of year. Average high this time of year 64, so we're seeing low 60s this morning, and also some low clouds and fog has been developing across Ocean City down through Wallop, so use caution this morning. Wind advisory continues for the Delaware beaches. That runs through 1 o'clock for the gusts upwards of 50 miles an hour. Coastal flood advisories continue as well through high tide this evening. Could see moderate to major flooding here along the bays, Dorchester, Somerset, Wacomico. That is through high tide cycle early tomorrow morning, and the gale wind warnings continue as well. Now we have that small risk to see an isolated damaging wind threat and a brief spin up through the next few hours as this wave of moisture pushes through the area. You can see some heavier rain extending into the midshore through western portions of the county through about 10:30, and then I think by around lunchtime we begin to calm down, skies will begin to clear, and rapidly we'll see conditions improve through the afternoon. Those winds will continue to gust upwards of 40 miles an hour out of the southeast through the morning. We'll see more of a southerly wind kick in throughout the day. Then as the front pushes through, more of a west wind. Winds will relax a bit through the evening and overnight, and then they ramp right back up again through our Halloween with temperatures rising into the lower 60s. So highs today right around 70 with the showers and storms continuing at least through noon, and then we begin to dry out through the afternoon, and Halloween looking really nice aside from the wind, and then we're looking nice and dry through the weekend as well. So as you make your way out tomorrow for the candy, grabbing some Reese's here, some Kit Kats, some Skittles, we're looking at temperatures falling into the 50s through tomorrow evening with clear skies. Temperatures falling to the 30s back Saturday and Sunday morning, but a beautiful weekend under mostly sunny skies, and we stay nice and dry through early next week. Matt.
Thank you, Chris. A new cell tower, it's disguised as a tree, is coming to Ocean Pines. The Ocean Pines Association website shows a tower going in at 100 Clubhouse Drive, and that is the area that you see right here on your screen. The association says the cell tower will improve service in the community while keeping the visual impact to a minimum.
Delmarva Central Railroad will close Old Racetrack Road between Brick Manor Road and North 2nd Street. That's going to start on November 8th, and it's according to DelDOT. The agency is saying now that crews will be doing maintenance work at that railroad crossing. That closure is expected to stay in place until November 10th.
Up next, dealing with decline. We'll tell you what some experts say has led to a reduction in the striped bass population. We'll be right back on Coast TV News Today.
The Atlantic States Marine Fisheries Commission looked at striped bass regulations at its annual meeting in Dewey Beach this week. They say the Atlantic striped bass were declared overfished. That was in 2019, and restrictions were put into place to restore that population in hopes by 2029. But studies show the population still struggling after fishing regulations, and there was even a proposal to reduce the amount of fish harvested by another 12%. Now, that plan failed, meaning regulations will stay at the status quo for now, which local watermen say is a big win for them.
We're not going to go above and beyond the status quo unless they do something to adjust the baseline, which would give us more days off on the charter industry. Guys are going out of business dropping like flies right now.
Although Newberry says Maryland does plan to revisit more regulations in the state, he says local watermen intend to fight. And today is the final day of the commission's annual meeting.
Menhaden fish regulations were also discussed this week. The commission decided to cut next year's harvest by 20%, but some experts are actually saying a 54% reduction is needed to protect the ecosystem. A new report from the commission shows the menhaden numbers in the Atlantic Ocean are 37% lower than what scientists thought. Watermen and environmental groups warn the population decline could ripple through the Chesapeake Bay's food chain and local economy.
Gusty winds and rain greeting us this Thursday morning on Delmarva as we take a live look into Ocean View. It is a wet and very windy start to the day there, 63 degrees, and we're going to be dealing with the rain, moderate to heavy pockets, even a rumble of thunder at least through noon, and then we're going to really begin to improve by the afternoon through Ocean City and Fenwick Island. Rehoboth and Lewis seeing those gusts upwards of near 45 miles an hour with the heavy rain on and off at least through about 11 a.m. Cambridge dealing with the rainy start, but sunshine breaks out through the afternoon in both Cambridge and Crisfield with highs in the upper 60s. Colleen O'Connor, Millsboro, Delaware, congratulations on winning an umbrella from CoastTV, and you can get your latest forecast by dialing the First Alert Weather phone. We have more high winds to contend with as we go into Halloween. We'll talk more about that coming up in the next half hour. Grace.
Thanks, Chris. After the break on CoastTV News today, rules for the compassionate release. We'll tell you how Governor Meyer could give some people incarcerated in Delaware new opportunities for release.
Also, more damage from Melissa. We have the progression of that hurricane across the Caribbean.
And the forecast cancels ferry. We'll tell you which trips will not be taking off the Cape May Lewis ferry due to weather conditions. CoastTV News Today returns after the break.
Now on CoastTV News.
Flooding focus. On this yellow alert day, what is the current situation at the normal high water pain points?
Good Thursday morning, Delmarva. We have a yellow alert in place through the morning, expecting some active weather with the threat of isolated damaging winds. We'll track it coming up.
Melissa's massive mayhem, the power and the destruction of one of the largest hurricanes to hit the Caribbean.
Seeking snap solution. 2 governors, 1 problem. What Maryland is expected to announce later this morning after Delaware's Matt Meyer revealed his plan on Wednesday.
This is CoastTV News Today.
October 30th, 2025. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Grace.
Good morning, Matt. I'm Grace Eckerly, and thank you for being up with us.
Time is now 6:32, and we continue with the conditions on this yellow alert day.
Right, Matt. And we're joined now by First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobono, who's going to give us an insight into how people address and make these alerts.
Yes, good morning, Grace and Matt. Yeah, we issue those yellow alerts when we're expecting about a half an inch of rain or more, and when we're expecting winds in excess of 40 miles an hour. We had the rain move in overnight. We're seeing some light shower activity in and across most of Kent and Sussex County, but the heaviest rain right now we're seeing extends from Ocean City down through Berlin. Some pretty strong downpours there, and this is all lifting to the north and will be pushing into southern Sussex County here over the next half hour. You can see some lighter shower activity to the south and some thunderstorms on the other side of the bay. Have not seen any thunderstorms here on Delmarva, but a pretty potent area of low pressure here centered over Virginia, and this is going to continue lifting to the north. You can see the cold front back off towards the Carolinas. Now we have that isolated threat of a damaging wind, brief spin up through the next few hours as Futurecast shows that last round of some heavier pockets of rain moving in here through mid to late morning. By the lunchtime hour, I think we begin to start to dry out pretty rapidly in a west to east fashion, and we will see some sunshine, I think, by the latter part of our day today. We're at 63 right now in Ocean View, and those winds have been howling this morning, gusting upwards of 37 Indian River Inlet, 31 Ocean City to 30 in Georgetown. Temperature-wise, it is quite mild. We're seeing temperatures in the low 60s. Dew points are in the 60s, so somewhat of a tropical feel to the day. And our window of opportunity for a shower, for a thunderstorm at least, is through lunchtime, and then we'll begin to dry things out a mild day with temperatures right around 70 degrees. As we go into the evening, we'll see those winds taper off a bit before they ramp right back up just in time for the trick-or-treaters. I'll talk more about that more in depth coming up. My full 7-day forecast a little later on in the newscast. Grace.
Thank you, Chris. Now taking a live look into Ocean City. This is at one of the inlets, and this view a lot of people are going to be seeing today. You can see the wind blowing the trees in the corner of your screen. It's kind of whipping across that water there, Matt.
Yeah, we're going to go to 5 Points right now in Lewis. This is moments ago. This is one of the busiest intersections in our area during the morning commute, and you can see light traffic here. Not a lot of rain. We are seeing some spritz on occasion, and those are the conditions that we're getting at the intersection of Route 13 and Route 9. Route 1, I should say.
Yes, and we're now going to take a further look at the conditions outside on the roads, specifically in Bethany Beach.
Yeah, this is where we have our Elisa Weber. She's in the First Alert Weather Jeep in an area that flooding is normally a concern in situations like this. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt and Grace. Yes, we are back in Bethany Beach. We were here an hour ago, and I'm going to show you outside. The rain, it has picked up outside. You can see that from our windshield with the lights. It is really coming down. In our other hour when we talked about Bethany Beach, it was really just drizzling outside. The wind as well, still heavy here, really picking up. We are looking at Pennsylvania Avenue. We are on First Avenue, and as you can see, that water on that road is still significant here. This is an area that deals with constant flooding and standing water whenever it rains, so you can imagine in a storm like this one, it is definitely hitting this area hard. You can see there's a barrier blocking people off from using that road. We are just on the edge of the road where it still is dry, but again, never drive through standing water. Be absolutely careful whenever you are driving and it is raining outside, but especially just never drive through standing water. And we're actually going to take you back to 2 weeks ago to Bethany Beach, when this area experienced severe flooding from the nor'easter we experienced on October 13th and 14th. So on your screen right now are images of what this area looked like. Bethany Beach dealt with street closures and beach erosion as strong storms brought in intense flooding and rough waves. Officials closed North Pennsylvania Avenue from Garfield Parkway to 5th Street due to rising water. And we're going to show you a look at the current conditions in Bethany Beach. This is just more footage we got of Pennsylvania Avenue, different angles that we can show you, not from sitting inside of our vehicle. As you can see, this area blocked off, filled with water. Be careful as you are driving through Bethany Beach. The other main roads are clear in Bethany. It's really just this one spot, and we will have more updates for you later on. Keep checking our CoastTV News First Alert weather apps as well. Back to you.
Thank you again. That was Elisa Weber in Bethany Beach. And some things to know: the Cape May Lewis Ferry says it's canceling certain departures tomorrow. This is due to the expected weather conditions. Now, transportation officials say there will be no boats leaving from Cape May at 9:30 a.m. and 1 p.m. There will also be no boats leaving from Lewis at 11:15 a.m. and 2:45 p.m.
Hurricane Melissa unleashed devastation in Jamaica as the strongest storm on record ever to hit the Caribbean island nation. It roared later on Wednesday into eastern Cuba, smashing the city of Santiago and flooding rural land. You can just see some of the severe weather right here on your screen. According to officials, the historic storm blasted western Jamaica, demolishing homes. Just look at this here, knocking down swaths of trees and washing out roadways.
With the federal government shutdown threatening to cut off food assistance in just 3 days on November 1st, Delaware is taking action. Governor Matt Meyer announced a state of emergency to allow weekly state funding for SNAP recipients. That's in the face of this funding lapse caused by the government shutdown. Meyer said the program, which provides food to more than 120,000 people in Delaware, could run out of money if the federal government does not reopen. The state plans would cover the cost of the program through the month of November.
And new this morning, Maryland Governor Wes Moore, he's expected to take executive action today on the potential expiration of SNAP benefits. According to his office, this is ahead of SNAP funding running out on Saturday due to that federal government shutdown. Moore says in just a few hours, we're talking 11 a.m. this morning, he will announce his plans to help those who rely on the benefits.
New this morning today, Delaware Governor Matt Meyer is expected to be in Kent County for a ceremonial bill signing of the Richard Mouse Smith Compassionate Release Act. According to Meyer, Smith was a Delaware civil rights leader who advocated for incarcerated individuals, and this law, also known as Senate Bill 10, allows people in prison to apply directly to the sentencing court for possible release.
It also gives people who are older or seriously ill, and also those who have served decades behind bars, new opportunities to seek sentence reductions based on rehabilitation or health concerns.
Across Delmarva, Berlin now helping people who live there keep track of their water use. The town says the new Berlin Consumer Water Portal is an online service that lets people manage use. Through charts and graphs, people can set alerts, detect leaks, and even create budgets. Now, town leaders say people can access this portal 24/7.
Salisbury Police Department says they are seeing an increase in car thefts, and the department is recommending ways to prevent crime by keeping doors locked, keeping valuables out of view, and parking in well-lit areas.
This just in, President Trump now on his way back to Washington this morning after a 3-stop tour through Asia this week. The president's trip culminating early this morning with a high-stakes meeting with the Chinese president, his first in 6 years.
And Reed Binion shows us the meeting took place moments after the president made a surprise announcement on social media.
It's a great honor to be with a friend of mine, really for a long time now, if you think about it.
President Donald Trump speaking at the start of a high-stakes meeting with Chinese leader Xi Jinping Thursday in South Korea.
President Xi is a great leader of a great country, but he's a very tough negotiator. That's not good.
Following the meeting, the president spoke to reporters on board Air Force One as he traveled back to the U.S.
We're in agreement on so many elements.
Trump said they reached a trade deal and agreed on, quote, almost everything, including soybean trade.
Large amounts, tremendous amounts of the soybeans and other farm products are going to be purchased immediately.
The president also said he is reducing his fentanyl-related tariffs on China.
I put a 20% tariff on China because of the fentanyl coming in, which is it's a big tariff. And based on his statements today, I reduced it by 10%, so it's 10% instead of 20%.
And Trump said he and Xi resolved the issue of China's export controls on rare earth supplies, which are essential for making almost all high-tech products, from iPhones to electric vehicles. I'm Reed Binion reporting.
And we have a lot more news to get to in this final half hour. Don't go anywhere.
First, a shop small in Salisbury will tell you about the event next month aimed at helping local shops ahead of the holiday season.
Also, a night of Ks for the Jays, the dominating pitching effort that has Toronto on the verge of a World Series championship.
And casino night to support pets. We'll tell you what services Human Animal Partner says are funding the benefit. Stay with us on CoastTV News today.
I'll take some patience with you as you step outside the door this morning. We're dealing with some very heavy rain and wind as we take a live look into Cambridge, where the temperature there is 64 degrees. So it is a mild start, but we're seeing moderate pockets of heavier rain push across the area. The heaviest rain we're seeing right now is in southeastern portions of Sussex County, pushing through Ocean City, Ocean View, as well as portions of Frankfort. And this is all lifting to the north. So expecting some heavy rain along the Delaware coast. And we have more shower activity back off to the west as this area of low pressure continues lifting to the north, and we'll eventually see a cold front push through later today. You can see those winds gusting upwards of 36 Indian River Inlet. We're at 63 degrees, Bethany 62, and Georgetown expecting showers and storms to continue at least through noon, and then we begin to dry things out through the afternoon. We'll talk more about that coming up, my full 7-day forecast. Matt.
Okay, Chris, happening tonight, we have the Humane Animal Partners hosting its 4th annual Save 'em by the Sea Casino Night. The organization says this fundraising event helps support adoption, wellness, and pet retention programs. According to HAP, there is live music, food, casino games, and live and silent auctions. It's tonight at 5:30 in Millsboro.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
On the court, Indian River Volleyball had a hike last night. IR shipped up to play St. Mark's in Wilmington for the first round of states. Would the Indians' bus ride back include celebrating their first postseason win in 3 years? Well, we're going to start the match off with Spartan highlights. Gia Pizzulo with a huge spike in the first set which would go the way of the home team, 25-6. Here's Adriana Morris with the kill that IR just can't get. Indian River trying him out to come back in the second set. Lila Mae Brown providing a little bit of serve receive. That's a big spike to the back corner. But Sutton Nix getting into the mix for St. Mark's with a block from the front row. 25-7 was the score of the second set in favor of the Spartans. They're up 2-0 on the match. Lena Clark and company, they keep it rolling for St. Mark's. Pure dominance from the home side. Clark one more time from the same spot. Another Spartan point. The third set wrapped up 25-9 in favor of the Spartans. Laura Garrett with a little ace. Why not? So St. Mark's with the sweep of IR. Now they get the 1 seed, Caesar Rodney, up next.
Coming up on DSN, 6 o'clock tonight, another chance to catch Spirits of the Shore. 6:30, high school football pregame show, scoops and scores. And then we have Cape Henlopen traveling to Caesar Rodney in high school football. 10:30 final score. DSN Plus app, you get the Cape game. Then you get these other high school football games. You have Kent Island at Queen Anne's, Cambridge South Dorchester at Easton, Sussex Tech at Laurel. Last night, pivotal Game 5 of the World Series, and it was Treya Savage's show. The Blue Jays pitcher went 7 innings, striking out 12 Dodgers. Jays win it 6-1. They're now 1 win away from capturing their first title in 32 years. Game 6 of a potential clinch party in Toronto is Friday night.
It's Week 9 in NFL regular season, and coming up on Sunday Night Football this week, tune in as Washington Commanders host the Seattle Seahawks. Then stay right here after the game for Coast TV News. And here's what you can look forward to this afternoon on Coast Life at 4 p.m.
If you join us today at 4 on Coast Life, we got a lot of fantastic fun coming your way. If you're a football fan, if you're a new football fan, and you've got a lot of questions about what's going on when it comes to watching a game, don't worry, we're going to break things down for you with our Football 101. We also have a Spill the Tea that is fan and football related. Have you ever rooted for your team in real life, but it becomes a problem when it comes to your fantasy team? Don't worry, we'll cover all of that and more today at 4 on Coast Life. We'll see you then.
We continue to see moderate to heavy rainfall and strong winds push across the peninsula. I'll have all the latest on when all this mess clears out and when sunshine returns. My full forecast after the break.
Time is now 6:50 as we're taking a live look into a rather windy Laurel, Chris.
Oh yes, those winds are gusting upwards of 40 miles an hour. On top of that, we've been dealing with heavy rain. You could see some moderate to heavy rain extending from Whaleyville through Frankfort all along the Delaware coast down to Ocean City, and this is continuing to lift to the north as this big area of low pressure continues to spin to our west. And we have another round of some showers and storms to contend with. Once this warm front lifts throughout the morning, you see the cold front, that area of low pressure across the Virginias there, that's going to continue to the north, and that is really our window of opportunity to see an isolated severe storm. We have the low clouds here in Ocean View, 63 degrees, and those sustained winds, 22 Ocean City to 27 Indian River Inlet. We're gusting upwards of 36 Indian River Inlet to 32 out of the southeast, and we'll see more of a southerly wind kick in throughout the afternoon. We're at 63 in Lewis, 61 Milford, and 64 Gumboro. Also seeing some fog develop along the coast and some low clouds, so use some caution out there. Wind advisory continues through 1 o'clock with gusts upwards of 40 to 50 miles an hour. Minor coastal flooding is possible through Sussex and Worcester counties through high tide cycle this evening. Moderate to major coastal flooding is possible. Dorchester, Somerset, Wacomico, and that runs through Friday at 4 a.m. and those gale warnings continue. Watching for that isolated threat of a damaging wind and even a brief spin-up tornado over the next few hours as this moisture comes rolling through mid to late morning. You can see it extending across the peninsula and then the coast by around lunchtime. And then by this afternoon, skies begin to clear from west to east and we begin to dry out. Those winds are going to continue to gust out of the south anywhere between about 35 to 40. Some good news is we see the winds subside a bit through the evening and overnight. The bad news is they ramp right back up again as we go into Halloween. gusting to near 40 miles an hour. So that window of opportunity for an isolated severe storm comes within the next 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours, and then we'll begin to dry things out as we go into the afternoon. Your 7-day forecast shows 61 windy conditions for Halloween. We're down to 62 on Saturday. Could see some patchy frost Saturday night and Sunday morning, and we're looking at dry and sunny conditions into early next week. Grace.
Thanks, Chris. Salisbury will be hosting the Shop Small Saturday to prepare for the holiday season. According to the city, people can buy from local stores, eat from local restaurants, and even get a free horse and carriage ride. There will also be live music and a visit from Santa himself. The city says it's all taking place downtown on November 29th. The time is now 6:53 a.m. Time to check in with our coastal pet of the day.
And today's coastal pets of the day are showing off their Halloween costumes on your screen. We have Benny and Diesel. They're longtime staples here. However, we do have some sad news to report. Diesel passed away last month, 2 weeks from his 14th birthday. As always, Benny and Diesel were submitted to us by Tammy in Seaford.
Our hearts here at Coast TV go out to you and your family, Tammy. We'd like to see more of your pets on Delmarva. You can send us photos to tell us what makes them so special to you. If you take a look at your screen now.
That's where you'll see that QR code. Scan that to get your friends to us, and then watch weekdays from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature.
Moderate to heavy rainfall and windy conditions continue to push across the area this morning. Stay weather aware, at least through about lunchtime. Could see an isolated severe storm bringing the threat of a damaging wind, and even a brief tornado can't be ruled out. Your 10-day forecast shows 70 today. The cold front comes through, 61 by your Halloween, and it stays quite windy for Halloween, 40-mile-an-hour gusts. And the weekend right now looking very nice and dry with temperatures in the lower 60s, but a nice calm weather pattern into early next week.
I think we can use some calm after this rain this morning.
Without question. Yeah, I mean, we're going to continue to see at least moderate to heavy rainfall, at least for the next 5 hours, and then conditions will begin to really change and calm by the afternoon.
And it sounds nice for Halloween then, and the Penn State-Ohio State game, if you're looking to watch that on TV. Well, thank you for joining us today here on Coast TV News.
And the Today Show is coming up next at 7 a.m.
And we'll be back with Coast TV News midday at 11 a.m.
And for even more news and coverage you can count on, download our Coast TV News and weather apps. Have a great Thursday morning, everybody.